Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. I thought I was done for the day. I was downstairs, I was just getting something to eat. I took the dog for a walk, coming back, God, it's hot, still hot out there, very close. I thought it was done. I came back, and I just literally picked up the laptop downstairs, just to make sure everything was okay. And this story came up. This is a sort of a new story just hit. It's dated, or it's timed at 10 past 6. And as I'm recording this, it's 22 minutes past 6. So it's literally, I've come in and it's just come up. And I thought it could be the story that I could lead with tomorrow morning and that. And then I sort of sat there and literally looked at it and went, do you know what? This is too important. This is too big a story. And I feel that it needs to go out now. It needs to be made public as soon as possible. Because it is on an issue that will affects people now directly, affects family members of people now directly, or will affect virtually everyone eventually. It's such a large, important issue. It's one that I've mentioned many, many times. It's one that we all know is an utter disaster as far as the SNP concerned. And by the looks of it, it's about to get so much worse that it's going to be horrendous. And we're talking about social care, the care for the vulnerable in society, the elderly, those who've come out of hospital who need help there, people with mental problems, people with emotional support problems. Social care is such a massive issue. And it is effectively so important because the social care that some people receive can be the difference between life and death or sanity and insanity. There's some people out there that are incapable of looking after themselves, or for whom just having the social, that woman come in once or twice a week just to check on them could be their only point of contact with another human being. Or for some, it is the very difference between leading any kind of dignified life or not. Social care is so massively important, and I think everyone appreciates how important it is. Everyone, that is, except for the SNP. And we're going to go in and see this headline, and it was this headline that drew me, and I went, I've got to make a video about this because it is absolutely appalling. And if it's true, it's a third of £1 billion is about to be clawed back from the social care budget. This is going to kill people. We'll have a look at the story. Now, to say, this isn't even one of those stories where I'm going to make light of it or I'm going to go in heavy and say that anything is wrong here, there and everywhere. This is just a story that I think everybody needs to be aware of, because this will affect virtually everyone, either directly or vicariously, because everybody knows somebody, be it your granny, be it some old maiden aunt, be it your mate Joe down the road who, used to be out and come out and see you, and now he just needs a bit of help and whatever. He's found himself, he's come back from an operation, he's a bit doubly incontinent, that kind of thing. It's all sorts of things, as we know. It affects everyone. It's not called social care for nothing, because it affects the whole of society. And this is astounding. So Scottish Government begged to back down on £331 million cash grab from social care. So they've already committed. This isn't, please don't take it. Please think again about taking it, rather. They've already committed to taking £331 million, a third of £1 billion from social care budgets. The SNP made the announcement earlier in the year that local authorities will be expected to hand back funds despite the ongoing budget crisis hitting local authorities. You can guarantee there's Jackie Bailey. You can guarantee Jackie Bailey will be snarling on this one. And this is one of these, and again, I will get criticism from the SNP probably from this, and I don't care. I don't care from SNP supporters. Listen, you can go in there and you go into the comments, right? You can say what you like. I don't care. I've always said I'm centre-right on economics and I'm centre-left when it's people. And this one is screw the economics. This is all people. And for the SNP to do this shows a stunning disregard for any level of humanity. Scottish Labour has demanded the SNP reverses a £331 million raid on IJB reserves originally handed out as COVID reserves as services wrestle with funding cuts. Health and social care partnerships across Scotland are being forced to make impossible choices due to budget pressure, say Scottish Labour, who earlier this year the SNP government clawed back 331 million from the integrated joint boards. In other words, you have all the care boards all across Scotland. They are awarded an en masse block money, which they then fund in between themselves based on numbers, based on size, based on land area, because obviously you have more travel involved and it takes longer to get between appointments. There's all sorts of, it's a very complicated set of algorithms that mask out these funding, but they have this funding arrangement. So it goes into it like what they call this joint board, and then they subdivide it out into the areas. But it is a massive amount of money because it needs to be, because social care is expensive and worth every penny. Any party that would immediately say, oh, we're going to cut in funds to the National Health Service would be seen as draconian and evil. Cutting social care costs is no less. Glasgow City IJB lost out on almost 45 million due to the SNP's clawback and is now being forced to make another £22 million worth of cuts. How many lives will be lost for this 22 million? The SNP are guilty of an outrageous raid on social care funding, claims Labour MSP Jackie Bailey, who blasted the government must drop these reckless plans to reduce health board budgets and let local health and social care bodies use this funding to deliver the social care services we desperately need. The SNP, by doing this, are effectively, and not just effectively, are actually going to kill people. A lack of care, a lack of availability, a lack of resources, and as far as the SNP are concerned, a lack of giving a toss. And this is because they've got this £1 billion black hole, this overspend, where they have spent money on independence causes instead of spending it where it's needed to be. And now they're having to let people die for the sake and the cause of independence. When you are actively killing people for a political cause, what kind of party is that? South Lanarkshire's reserves were raided to the tune of almost 18 million, and now they have a budget black hole of approximately 38 million in their social care budget. Miss Bailey added, social care across Scotland is being decimated, leaving services facing closure and patients at risk. Years of cuts to local funding by the SNP was made worse still by their outrageous raid on IJB funds earlier this year. The SNP must protect services from devastation by reversing their shameful cash grab and returning this funding to the services that need it. But they won't. They can't. Because to return it would indicate that they were wrong to take it. And the SNP can never, ever be wrong about anything. They have this hubris that will kill people. That is killing people. When the announcement was made at the start of the year, Scottish Lib Dem leader Alex Cole-Hamilton said, shuffling deck chairs is no way to solve the crisis in our NHS and social care services. I would absolutely not put it past the SNP ministers to announce the money they have clawed back as if it's new funding in a future press call. And that's exactly what they've done. I don't know how to describe this other than I think it is evil. I think it is deliberate. I think the SNP know exactly what they're doing. They've decided to go down a path knowing that this will result in pain, in misery, in suffering and death. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And they're sitting in Holyrood right now. Humza Yousaf, Shona Robinson, they should be ashamed of themselves. Michael Matheson, he should be ashamed of himself. The health minister, he should totally be ashamed of himself. He's leading this. You know, they are disgusting pieces of a waste of human space. For them to agree this, you've got Humza, who's the party leader, Shona Robinson, who's in charge of the money, and Michael Matheson, who's health. Those 3, like the 3 witches of Macbeth, have sat there and said that this will be policy. For the SNP, death is now policy. I would go so far as to say murder. They are deliberately doing this. They know the results. I would suggest that this could be murder. I'm going to stop because I am getting very angry and I don't want this to turn into a rant. I've stayed very calm and I hope you've all appreciated how calm I've stayed. Please hit the subscribe and like button on this video. We need this video to go out and go wide. Everyone needs to know exactly what the SNP are doing. This is probably the worst thing, I think, that they've done since they potentially, probably, possibly, allegedly murdered 5,500 people during COVID. This is the next step. This is the vulnerable. And we remember what happened in the Second World War, don't we? In the camps where they were lining them up. The old, the elderly, the infirm, the mentally ill. They were the first ones to go, you know? You only have to look to history to see the future. I'm coming up. I think history will not be kind to the SNP. I think in 20, 30, 50 years' time, people will look back at the history books of this time and they will look at what the SNP have done. The removal of rights, the removal of freedoms, the removal of life from vast tracts of people, the utter destruction of everything that people hold dear. They will look at the policies, they will look at the fact that they were warned about the policies and still proceeded. And people will wonder, why did we allow this to happen again? We saw what happened in Germany in the 30s, and yet people have blindly walked into this again. Because I see no difference between these SNPs and the National Socialists of Germany. Sure, they haven't built the camps yet, but how long before that starts happening? Certainly, the deaths are here. I'm going to stop. Thank you for watching. It's horrendous. It's horrendous, and this needs to be called out. So as I said, please share, like, and absolutely please subscribe. This is a political video. This is a political channel. We don't get the uplift. We need all the help we can get. YouTube gets funny with politicals. It hides them. Please help us get this message out. Till the next video, which I do hope will be a lot happier in the morning. This is my last video of the day, but I do hope the next video will start the day tomorrow in a much brighter note. But until then, thank you for watching and goodbye.